Tech Chop is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. TechPodcasts.com. If it's tech, it's here.
Sam, switch up the format. You're going to work with me.
This episode of Tech Chop is brought to you by Mozy Pro.
Welcome to episode 12 of Tech Chop. I, of course, am Paul Bauer, a.k.a. Twitter.com/ElDePablo. The family's with me for Christmas and New Year's, so I don't really have time to do my normal setup. But I still want to get something out for January, so here we are. I'm filming from my Dodge Neon, and if you've been a follower of the old Bauer Power podcast, you may recognize it from one of our original intros with the action sequence. Today's going to be more of a free format, and I'm going to share with you my 10 New Year's resolutions. Alright, my first resolution is to start working out in my Total Gym again. And I have a Total Gym, well actually it's a Weider Total Bodyworks 5000. I've had it for years. Basically the same thing. It's like half the price of a Total Gym. And you know what I say? You know, if it's good enough for Chuck Norris, it's good enough for me, okay? And next up on my list, I want to implement cable management in my server room at the home office. If you saw the last episode where I was reviewing the Eaton 5PX UPS unit, you saw what a spaghetti factory I had to deal with at work. And like I said in that video, that was inherited from the previous administration, but I'd like to go in there and finally do something about it. And next up on my list, I'd like to finish up my Microsoft certifications. I personally don't like paying for my own certifications. I always say never pay for your own certifications, you know, always get your company to pay for it. I'd also like to get Cisco certified. I think that would help me out in my switches and networking. So I put on my list, I want to do more epic mealtime type foods, you know. I don't know if you saw it. I did a quick video on Bauer Power, and it was just like a spur of the moment thing. The wife went out of the house, and, you know, I'm a big fan of the YouTube show Epic Mealtime. And so when she went out, I decided to make a run to the store and make this epic meatloaf. You know, I put bacon in it, I put McDonald's breakfast sandwiches in it, and covered it and all that with mac and cheese, and then baked it inside of a meatloaf, and it was freaking fantastic. So I'm going down my list here, and I have on it maybe do free running. Now, if you don't know what free running is, and correct me if I'm wrong, like maybe you're a free runner, I don't know. But the way I understand it, it originated out of France, and it was called parkour. And the object is to go from one place to another in the most efficient manner possible. And if you watch some of these videos on YouTube on these guys doing parkour, it is flipping amazing. That would be my cardio, and it would be fun cardio too, you know, because it wouldn't just be like, oh, I'm running, oh, and I'm listening to my MP3 player, that's great, oh, you know, Pandora, blah, blah, blah. It's actually like you're doing something. You're hopping over stuff, you're jumping from rooftop to rooftop like frickin' Batman. And I think if I could pick a cardio workout to do, it would be that. Alright, I think it's a good time to break for our sponsor. But I'm going to have to pull over for this one.
Sponsor!
When it comes to running a successful business, there are many things you have to get right, like hiring good people. But one thing is often overlooked, and that's protecting the data that powers your business. Earthquakes, floods, fires, hurricanes, tornadoes, and other disasters threaten destruction, including the safety of your servers and computers. What would you do if you lost your data due to a disaster? Did you know that 50% of businesses that find themselves without data management for 10 days or more file for bankruptcy? Businesses of all sizes and consumers use Mozy to back up everything from emails, contacts, important documents, to family pictures and music. It's automatic, and it works. One advertising executive's company lost an entire bank of servers, which nearly brought their business to its knees. Then he found Mozy Pro. He says, I was shocked at how fast it works, and their people know how to work with Macs. If your business is not backed up with Mozy Pro, you really need to make sure your data is backed up. Call 877-669-9776 or visit mozypro.com. Use promo code PODCAST podcast15 and save 15% off your order. Also, make sure to tell them that Tech Chop sent you.
Tech Chop.
And we're back. So the next one up on my list is, I'm thinking I would like to this year maybe switch my Linux distro of choice from Ubuntu to Mint. Someone suggested maybe switching over to Mint because they don't come out every 6 months like Ubuntu does. Next up on my list, I have Learn IPv6. You know, as a guy that manages internal networks, I just don't see the point of it yet. It's more of a problem for internet carriers than it is for internal network administrators. I've never really bothered to learn it, but it would be nice to maybe figure it out, learn its ins and outs, and maybe set up a test network and maybe do a video on it. I don't know. Next one up is update the network documentation at my work. I got a buddy named James I used to work with at my last company, and that guy was a documentation master. I, on the other hand, I like to do my research and stuff like that, and I plan it all out in my head, and then I just do it, you know? But I hate documentation. I hate doing it. I hate getting into office software and doing the whole, clerical side of systems administration. This year, it would be nice for me to sit down and make it a project and just sit down and do it, you know? The next one I have is another one of those, regular life ones, and that's to read more novels. I used to like to read right before bed, that was like the perfect time to read, you just, you go to bed and you just stay up for another 15 minutes and, you leave your light on and, maybe read a chapter, that's fine. It's been like 5 years since I've read a book, like a novel. Maybe this year sit down and maybe not watch so many movies, but maybe sit down and read a couple more novels. And my last resolution I have on my list is to train up my desktop tech, Frank, who you've seen in the last video. I call him Frank the Tank. I'd like to train him up a little more on our public web servers at my company, the stuff that I have to support in my off hours. So that way I could get him on a on-call rotation so I don't have to be on call 24 hours a day. Every once in a while it'd be nice to be able to go to the beach and not have to constantly be paranoid and looking at my phone to see if an alert came in or something. Maybe I missed something. Yeah, I think that would be nice, and it would also be good for him and his career. That concludes this episode. Next time we'll be back to our usual format. What are your New Year's resolutions? Let me know in the comments, hit me up on Twitter, or shoot me an email, info@techchop.com. Come back next time for your prescribed dose of Tech Chop.
Can a brother get some subscribers up in here?